sprawled under a moonless sky, a maze of silk and shadow. Slow pans reveal stalls overflowing with exotic wares, their colors muted by the darkness. The air hung thick and heavy, a potent mix of rare spices, fragrant incense, and the collective breath of the thronging crowd. Colorful lanterns, suspended like captured stars, cast long, dancing shadows that twisted and writhed on the cobblestone paths, giving the entire scene a dreamlike, almost surreal quality. A silk merchant, his face a mask of calm experience, moved methodically through the dense crowd. His robes were simple, but his posture was one of quiet authority. His eyes, the only things that betrayed a sharp, calculating mind, scanned the endless stalls, assessing, discarding, searching. Then, abruptly, his practiced gaze froze. Across the crowded square, through a gap in the sea of people, another figure stood still. The rival merchant. A knowing smirk played on his lips before he gave a subtle, almost imperceptible two-fingered tap to his chest. It was not a greeting, but an arrogant challenge. A silent declaration of war thrown across the pulsing heart of the bazaar. The silent war began in earnest. At a modest stall, almost hidden in a less trafficked corner, the merchant's eyes discovered a prize, a small collection of rare indigo dye, the color of the deepest twilight. As he leaned in to begin the quiet art of negotiation, his gaze flicked sideways. The rival was there, watching, his presence a heavy weight in the air. Without a word, the rival stepped forward, loudly interrupting the hushed exchange. He bought the entire stock, not because he needed the dye, but for the sheer dominance of the act. His eyes, cold and victorious, never left the merchant's face, savoring the small public defeat. Their paths continued to cross, two predators tracking each other through the winding alleys. The merchant's eyes narrowed as he saw his rival approach a famed weaver, a master whose creations were legendary. The rival postured, his voice smooth and persuasive. But just before a deal could be struck, the merchant caught the weaver's eye. He gave a slight, almost imperceptible tilt of his head, an old sign. A shared language of respect and history that spanned years. The rival's confident expression faltered, his eyes flashing with raw annoyance as the weaver turned from him, giving the merchant a private, welcoming nod that excluded all others. The final confrontation unfolded at the bazaar's most exclusive silk stall, a place whispered about in reverent tones. The stall owner, with the flair of a showman, unveiled a single bolt of silk. It was magnificent. It shimmered as if woven from moonlight itself, its surface shifting and glowing with an internal luminescence. Both merchants' eyes widened, their rivalry momentarily forgotten in shared awe. The merchant was the first to act. His gaze darted to the stall owner, and he discreetly touched his thumb to his index finger, forming a small, precise circle, a silent, significant opening bid, known only to the most seasoned traders. The rival scoffed. His eyes mockingly scanned the merchant's simple, unadorned robes, lingering on their plainness. With a theatrical sigh of boredom, he made his countermove. He removed a large, ostentatious emerald ring from his finger, placing it on the wooden counter with a loud, definitive click. The sound cut through the low hum of the market. His eyes bored into the merchant's, a final, insurmountable offer that spoke of wealth far beyond mere coin. The stall owner, his face a mixture of avarice and deference, bowed his head low to the rival. The game was won. The merchant's jaw tightened, a muscle twitching in his cheek. He held his rival's triumphant, gloating gaze for a long, heavy moment before his shoulders slumped in a gesture of defeat. He broke eye contact first, turning away from the brightly lit stall and the shimmering prize. He let his hand clench into a tight, hidden fist. As his eyes adjusted to the gloom of the less traveled paths, they drifted down a dark, forgotten alley. His gaze, once filled with frustration, now fixated on a mysterious, ornate lantern hanging from an unseen hook. It pulsed with a faint, otherworldly light, a silent, beckoning rhythm. All frustration drained from the merchant's face, replaced by a deep, consuming curiosity. He took a single, determined step into the darkness. His eyes locked on the lantern as he walked toward a new, unknown prize.